Friends, video is too big. If you don't want to watch the full video, then go to the description below the video. There I have written all the chapters and timestamps of the video. Just click on the timestamps, then video will start from where you want to watch. This is Buri Critical Valmiki Ramayana chapter 1 Balkanda. And if you want to see our previous videos, then click the channel name or picture below the video. Then go to the video or playlist option. And friends, please press the red subscribe option and press the bell icon for my latest video updates. So, real Ramayana story starts from here, chapter 1 5. So, let's start beginning with Prajapati. Several victorious and unrebelled kings have ruled over this entire earth. There was one named Sagara who dug up the ocean. When he advanced, his 60,000 sons surrounded him. This was the lineage of the Ishwakus, one of great souled kings. It has been heard that the great Ramayana account originated in this lineage. From the beginning to the end, everything will be recounted. It is full of dharma, kama, and artha and must be heard without any censure. There was the great kingdom of Koshala, prosperous and happy. It possessed a lot of wealth and was located on the banks of the Sarayu. The city of Ayodhya, famous in the world, was situated there. Manu, Indra among men, himself constructed that city. The great city was 12 yojanas long and 3 yojanas wide. It was beautiful and spread out, divided by highways. The beautiful and large royal roads were laid out well. They were always sprinkled with water and flowers were strewn on them. The king there was Dasharatha, an extender of the great kingdom. He made that city his abode like the king of the gods in heaven. There were gates and arches, and the interiors of the buildings were laid out well. There were machines and implements of war everywhere, constructed by all manner of artisans. There were birds and minstrels everywhere. That handsome city was infinite in splendor. There were tall walls and standards surmounted by hundreds of shatagnis everywhere. That city was also full of large numbers of dancers and actors. There were mango groves, and a giant wall formed a girdle around the city. There were moats that were difficult to cross, thus, the fortification was incapable for others to breach. It was populated by horses, elephants, cattle, camels, and donkeys. Large numbers of vassal kings came from the frontiers to offer tribute. Merchants and residents of many countries came there. The palaces were embedded with jewels and were as beautiful as mountains. There were secret residences, and the place was like Indra's Amravati, means very beautiful. The city was full of large numbers of beautiful women and was wonderfully laid out like an Ashtapada board. It was encrusted with gems everywhere, and the mansions were like celestial vehicles. The houses were densely constructed on level ground, and there was no space between them. There were stores of shali rice, and the water was like the juice of sugarcane. There were drums, percussion instruments, venas, and cymbals. They were sounded loudly, signifying that this was the best city on earth. Through their austerities, Siddhas obtained celestial vehicles in heaven with extremely well laid out residences and populated by the best among men. This city was like one of those. The archers there were skilled and dexterous of hand, but they did not use their arrows to pierce someone who was alone, someone who was without hairs, or someone who was running away. Nor did they aim by sound alone. Intoxicated lions, tigers, and wild boars roared and roamed around in the forests. They killed these with their sharp weapons and even through the sheer strength of their arms. The place was full of thousands of such Maharathas. The city that was King Dasharatha's residence was like this. It was populated by those with qualities, those who offered oblations into the fire. There were the best among Brahmanas, accomplished in the Vedas and the Vedangas. There were thousands of great souled ones devoted to the truth. All of them were like sages, and some were the equals of the great sages. Next chapter. Next chapter 1 of 6. King Dasharatha resided in that city of Ayodhya and collected those who knew about the Vedas around him. He was far-sighted and immensely energetic and loved by the residents of the city and the countryside. He was a great warrior from the Ishwaku lineage who performed sacrifices. He controlled himself and was devoted to dharma. He was a Rajrishi who was the equal of a Maharshi. He was famous in the three worlds. He was powerful and slew his enemies. He possessed friends and had conquered his senses. He accumulated wealth and other kinds of riches. He was like Shakra and Vaishravana, like the immensely energetic Manu. He protected the world. He ruled over the earth, adhering to the truth. He pursued the three objectives. He ruled over that best of cities like Indra in Amravati. There were extremely learned people in that best of cities, happy and with dharma in their souls. The men were satisfied with the riches they had obtained themselves. They were truthful in speech and not avaricious. In that supreme of cities, there was no one who had not accumulated some amount of riches. There was no household without riches in the form of cattle, horses, wealth, and grain. There was no man who was lustful, ignoble, or cruel. One was incapable of seeing an ignorant person or a non believer in Ayodhya. All the men and women were extremely controlled and devoted to Dharma. They were joyful and good in conduct, like unblemished Maharshis. There were no one without an earring, without a headdresses, without a garland, and without some means of finding pleasure. There was no one who did not have a bath, nor anyone who did not smear the body with unguents and fragrances. There was no one who did not have the best of food. There was no one who was not generous, no one who did not decorate the body with ornaments. No one could be seen without ornaments on the hands, nor one who was heartless. There was no one who did not light the sacrificial fire. There were thousands of Brahmanas who performed sacrifices. There was no one in Ayodhya who was without a means of subsistence, nor anyone of mixed varna. The Brahmanas had conquered their senses and were always engaged in their own tasks. They were devoted to donating and studying. They were controlled and received gifts. There was no one who was a non believer, no one who was a liar, nor anyone who was not extremely learned. There was no one who was jealous or incapable. There was no one who was not learned. There was no one who was distressed or disturbed in mind. No one who was miserable. There was no one or no man and woman who was poor or ugly. In Ayodhya, one was incapable of seeing a person who was not devoted to the king. All the four Varnas worshipped gods and guests. All the men possessed lifespans and were devoted to dharma and the truth. The Kshatriyas placed Brahmanas ahead of them, and the Vaishyas followed the Kshatriyas. The Shudras were devoted to their own dharma and served the other three Varnas. That city was guarded extremely well by that lord of the Ishwaku lineage, just like the intelligent Manu. Dharma means job, duty. Okay. Indra among men in ancient times, the accomplished warriors were intolerant and were like the touch of fire. They had completed all their training and were like lions in caves. They were the best of horse born in the kingdoms of Cambodia and Balika. It was full of other horses born in mountainous regions and riverine tracts. They were like Indra's horse. The place was full of extremely strong and crazy elephants that were like mountains. Indra means king of all gods. Born in the Vindhya mountains and the Himalayas, these elephants were descended from Anjana and Vamana. The city's elephants were Bhadra, Mandra, Bhadra Mriga, and Mriga Mandra. The city was always full of crazy elephants that were like mountains, making true its name. The city extended for another 2 yojanas beyond, with firm gates and ramparts. It was true to its name. With colorful houses, it was auspicious and beautiful. There were thousands of men in the city of Ayodhya, like Shakra, the king ruled. Next chapter 7. There were 8 brave and illustrious advisors. They were pure and devoted and were always engaged in the king's task. Drishti, Jayantya, Vijaya, Siddhartha, Artha Sadaka, Ashoka, Mantrapala, and Sumantra was the 8. There were 2 officiating priests, supreme among rishis, Vasishta and Vamadeva. There were other ministers too. They were prosperous and great soul, learned in the sacred text and firm in their valor. They were controlled and the performers of deeds, acting just as they said they would. They possessed energy, forgiveness, and fame. They smiled before they spoke. Because of anger, desire, or wealth, they never spoke false words. There were nothing that was unknown to them in their own kingdom or in that of others. Whether it had been done, was being done, or was being thought of, this was ensured through spies. They were skilled in administration and their affections had been tested. At the right time, the appropriate punishment was imposed. Even on their own sons, they were devoted to accumulating the treasury and the army. They caused no violence to even men who were unfriendly. As long as they were blameless, they were brave and always full of enterprise, devoted to the science of governing. They were pure and always protected those who resided in the kingdom. In an attempt to fill up the treasury, they did not cause violence to Brahmanas and Kshatriyas. After examining a man's strengths and weaknesses, they imposed extremely steep punishments. Pure and single minded, all of them governed together in the city or in the kingdom. There was no man who was a liar, there was no man who was wicked, addicted to another person's wife. Everything in the kingdom was peaceful, and the city was also like that. All of them were well attired and well decorated, excellent in conduct. For the sake of the king, their eyes and good policy were always open. They obtained their good qualities from their preceptors and were renowned for their valor. Because of their intelligence and decisions, they were famous in foreign countries too. These were the qualities that the advisors possessed. With their aid, the unblemished King Dasharatha ruled the earth. Using spies, he kept an eye on what happened. He delighted the subjects through dharma. There was no one who was his superior or equal, nor did he have any enemies. Those ministers were devoted to providing advice that brought welfare. They were devoted, accomplished, and skilled, and surrounded him. The king thus gained radiance. He was like the rising sun, illuminating with its blazing rays. Next chapter 8.